Hello and welcome to It's a Miracle. I'm Richard Thomas. You know, sometimes it takes a powerful sign from God to make a person turn their life around. And that's what happened to the man in our first story. His life had hit rock bottom. He'd lost everything, including the will to live. And then he received his sign. And it was about as powerful as it gets. He was struck by a bolt of lightning. And where it hit him is nothing short of miraculous. As a young man, Daniel Levige turned to the church in an attempt to put a troubled childhood behind him. A few years later, this former musician had become an ordained minister until he quarreled with the church leadership.
Well, if the church won't accept me and I can't play my music in church or do what I want to do there, I'll take it somewhere else.
And so Daniel began playing his music in nightclubs in his hometown of Cheyenne, Wyoming. He fronted a rock and roll band that worked 7 nights a week. Eventually, he met and fell in love with a woman named Sheila Clark.
He was fun and happy-go-lucky, easy to get along with and communicate with. And we just started getting closer and closer together.
Oh yeah, you're getting better and better.
2 years later, they married. At first, Sheila worked as the sound engineer for the band. But as their family grew, she stayed at home, while Daniel continued to spend all his nights in the clubs.
There's a problem with that. I need more drugs, alcohol, and women.
Daniel's new friends became more important to him than his family. His drinking continued long after the party was over. Slowly, his personality began to change, and anything could set him off.
Look, you're always nagging me. Over and over, you're just nagging me.
He was just totally out of control. I mean, he wasn't really physically abusive, but he was very verbally and mentally abusive.
Even though Daniel knew he was hurting his family, he couldn't stop himself.
I'd always tell my wife, I wish, God could give me some kind of sign.
Whatever sign Daniel was looking for did not appear. Sheila worried about his influence on the children. His behavior frightened their daughter, Desiree.
When he got angry, he would usually just yell at my mom most of the time, and he would get really mad.
It got to the point to where I couldn't take it anymore, so I left with the kids, and we were separated for about 6 months.
I miss you. I miss the girls.
Daniel did not take the separation well. The longer he was away from his wife and children, the more depressed he became.
It was like being a king and then your kingdom just crumbles around you and there's nothing there left no more.
Finally, his emotional despair reached a new low. He found a friend's gun and decided it would be the answer to all his problems.
I grabbed the gun and I popped it back and I pulled the trigger.
Give me that. What are you, nuts?
And it didn't fire.
The gun was fully loaded, but miraculously the bullets had remained in their chambers. Daniel had been given a sign, and he knew that it was time to reunite with his family. As he left for home, a friend gave him a gold cross pendant for good luck.
Thanks a lot, man. Be cool. Okay.
Daddy!
Sheila decided to give him a second chance, but soon the same old problems began to reappear.
Things were better. They weren't the best. He still was very irritated, still lost with himself.
I still had a bad attitude, and I let people know, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Just stay away from me, I'll stay away from you.
Whoa. Looks like it's storming cats and dogs out there tonight.
Hey, get away from the window. It's dangerous. It's lightning out there.
No, let it hit me. Everything else has.
Suddenly, everything outside went deathly still.
Weird how it stopped like that.
The wind stopped blowing, the rain stopped, nothing was moving. And my wife said this could, it's like tornado weather.
Daniel stepped outside to get a better look.
You girls go back inside.
Everything was totally still, and the sky was just pitch black.
I think I've been shot.
And I said, what happened? He says, I think I just got shot. And I said, I don't think you got shot because I don't find any blood. He said, but I think you might have just got hit by lightning.
Birdie,
A bolt of lightning had struck Daniel in his chest, and now he was in tremendous pain. As Sheila opened his shirt to examine his wounds, she found 3 distinct burn marks, each shaped like a cross. The lightning had been attracted to the gold crucifix he wore around his neck. Daniel took it as another sign from God.
Yes, it was punishment for me being mean to people and being hateful, cruel.
Even his doctors felt that he should not have survived.
One said it's a blessing, one said it's a miracle, one said it was amazing.
But everyone who knew Daniel agreed that the lightning strike had somehow changed his heart. And now he had the sign he'd been looking for.
He got the sign and the calling that he had to go back to the church, and that's the way he lives and where he lives now.
I feel that God was talking to me.
He's the one we should thank.
Daniel is a different man today. He joined a church and soon became an associate minister. He now devotes his days to helping his congregation. Above all, he's happy and content.
He hasn't yelled as much ever since he got struck, and he's been a whole lot nicer since that happened. He's just the kind of person who likes to have a lot of fun.
Look, you just shut up!
Daniel has come a long way from the angry behavior that nearly cost him his family and his life.
Give me that! What are you, nuts?
It took 2 miraculous events to convince him that there was a higher power at work in his life.
And after this incident happened, whenever I write someone a letter, I end it, may the angels watch over and protect you. And I feel that's what they were doing for me.
He's got his life back on track, where he was once lost, now he's found, and I think it's just totally a miracle.